Okay, so first we're going to review solving one-step equations. So just like the name suggests, it's going to take us one step to solve these equations. So what we want to focus on is what operation is happening in the equation and how do we undo it. So we're looking for the inverse or opposite operation. So one of the things that we focus on when we have an equation is that we drop a line down where our equal sign is, and hopefully we drop a straight line down. There we go. So I look at this equation, and what's happening to x is that we're adding 3. So what I want to do is I want to undo the addition of 3 by subtracting 3 on both sides. And I'm doing it to both sides of the equation. That's why we drew our line. So I will see that I'm going to keep this equation balanced, because if I add something or subtract something from one side, I need to add or subtract to the other side to keep the balance. So what this will do is it will cancel out. 3 minus 3 cancels out to 0 and leaves us with just an x on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have 10 minus 3, and that gives us 7. So the solution to this equation should be x equals 7. Now we can verify that this is true by checking. So to check, we're going to rewrite. So I'm going to rewrite the original equation. I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to take the x equals 7 that I got, and I'm going to substitute that in for 7. And I want to know, is this equal to 10? And then I'm going to simplify to verify if this is true or not. So 7 plus 3 gives us 10, and 10 is equal to 10. So that checks out. Okay, on to the next one. So number 2. So again, I have an equal sign. I'm going to drop down my line at the equation. I have x minus 5 on the left-hand side. So to undo the subtraction of 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, because that is the opposite operation. The opposite of subtracting 5 would be to add 5. So here we have a negative 5 plus 5. Those will cancel out, leaving us with just an x on the left-hand side. On the right, we have to be careful with our integer rules. Negative 15 plus 5, that is a who wins by how much scenario, because we have adding with different signs. So the negatives would win by 10. So we are saying that x equals negative 10 would be our solution here. So let's check. So I can rewrite x minus 5 equals negative 15. I can substitute here, so I'm going to substitute that negative 10 in for x, so negative 10 minus 5, and I want to know, is that equal to negative 15? All right, so here we are subtracting negative 10 minus 5, so to subtract we can keep, change, so I change that subtraction to addition, and I'm going to change this positive 5 into a negative 5. Here I'm adding with the same signs, add and keep, to get negative 15, which is equal to negative 15. That checks out. Okay, on to number 3. So here, again, I have an equation. I'm going to drop down my line. I have negative 3 being multiplied with x. So remember, there is secretly a multiplication holding those two together. This is the one that can be the trickiest for students. So to undo that multiplication, we are going to divide. And we're going to divide both sides by that negative 3. So that sign will stay with it. Now, negative 3 divided by negative 3 leaves us with a 1x, which we can write as just simply x. So 1x is the same as x, leaving that x by itself. We've isolated the variable. And on the right-hand side, we have 9 divided by negative 3. So 9 divided by 3 we know gives us 3, and a positive divided by a negative gives us a negative 3. All right, now we're ready to check our answer. So we're going to rewrite. So I've got a negative 3x equals 9. I'm going to substitute in here that negative 3 in for x. So I'm going to do negative 3 times negative 3. And I want to know, is that equal to 9? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So 9 does equal 9. All right, on to number 4. So with this one, again, I have an equal sign. I can drop down my line, and what I have to pay attention to is what operation is happening to the x. Remember that fraction bar means division. So here we have x divided by 4. So to undo the division, we're going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 here. And so that 4 divided by 4 will cancel out just like the negative 3 divided by negative 3 did in our last example. And 4 divided by 4 gives us 1x, which we can write as simply x. 10 times 4 is 40. Okay, once again, checking our answer, we're going to rewrite. We're going to substitute. So I'm going to take this 40 and I'm going to plug it in for x here. So I'm going to say 40 divided by 4, is that equal to 10? And let's see, 40 divided by 4 is 10, which is equal to 10. So that does check out. So to summarize what we have going on here, when we're solving one-step equations, it will take us one step to solve by using inverse or opposite operations. So once we've identified the operation in the equation, we're going to do the opposite of that. So if I have addition, I'll use subtraction. If I have subtraction, I'll use addition. If I have multiplication, I'll use division. If I have division, I'll use multiplication, because those are inverse operations. And then we can always check our solutions, which you should do with equations, by rewriting, substituting, and simplifying.